So I just played 5 hours of Wild Hearts, and here are 10 things I think the game does worse than Monster Hunter. Welcome back, Classic Crew. As I've shared, I've been to a media event where I got some hands-on time with Wild Hearts, specifically 5 hours, and I got to try the game's mechanics, a bunch of things, and of course, I was comparing this to Monster Hunter of, if you play Monster Hunter, will you like Wild Hearts? Here are 10 reasons that I think you might go, this isn't quite as good as Monster Hunter. Number 1, the tone of Wild Hearts is more serious. One thing I love about Monster Hunter is it's a little bit quirky. There's a lot of jokes. You know, there's the PALICOES doing silly things. You're roasting your meat and someone's going, oh, so tasty. There's just a lot of these fun mechanics. It's a brighter, cheerful game. Whereas Wild Hearts feels a lot more dark, a lot more somber. Hey, you're hunting stuff. Oh my God, these things are destroying the world. You are this cool, kind of quiet protagonist that wanders the wild and just kills things, and everybody's like, oh my God, you're such a cool hunter. Now they do that in Monster Hunter 2, but they just do it with so much more kind of fun and pizzazz. So I find Monster Hunter succeeds at being a lot more charming than Wild Hearts does, and sometimes it's a little bit of charm that gets you a long way. The fact that Wild Hearts is open world and you're constantly out in the wild doing whatever you want means there isn't really as satisfying of a kill screen. When you finish the hunt, you get your triumphant music, and then you get to see all your stats, your final pose. This is something Monster Hunter does much better than Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts does have a kill screen, but it's more subtle. So once you finish your hunt, you're still in the wild. There's a little transparent menu that comes up. It shows you what your spoils are, and then it also gives you your time and a few other details. You click that and you just keep going. There's no opportunity to take a snapshot or to really like relish the moment with some triumphant music. It's just go on to the next one. And that takes away about a bit about that emotional triumph that you get from Monster Hunter. Another thing that is a con here is the fact that the weapons in Wild Hearts do feel simpler. This could be a problem with me, that I just don't know how to really get into the weapon mechanics that well compared to another player. But I did play around with a dummy, and I unlocked a bunch of the moves, and it does show you what you can do. And it's a lot less intimidating than Monster Hunter that has like a bunch of commands and combos you can do. So this is actually a pro in my pro video of why it's more accessible to new players. But for people who are looking for more meat to bite on, it does feel like maybe there just isn't as much with your weapon. Now there's a whole skill tree business with your weapons that seems to add more moves to your weapons. Maybe in the late game, that's how you make more complicated weapon combos. But from what I've seen, it seems the weapons are just way simpler to work with. Speaking of another con, one thing Monster Hunter does better than Wild Hearts is the fact that you have way more weapon variety in Monster Hunter. Wild Hearts only offers you 8 weapons, 4 of which I got to try, 5 of which I'm aware of. So the one that I didn't play but I'm aware of is the bow. So if you are looking for variety, Monster Hunter just has more to offer than Wild Hearts. Another con is the fact that you can only hunt in up to 3 players. So Monster Hunter, if you have more friends, that's the better game because you can hunt in 4. Wild Hearts, you can only hunt in max to 3 players. And the developers did share in a Q&A that the reason for that is when they were game testing, they just felt 4 players and above was not fun. 3 players was the sweet spot for them. So that is the reason they made that decision. Another con in Wild Hearts, or at least something Monster Hunter does better, is the fact that there are no PALICOES in Wild Hearts. You get these little robots called Tsukumos, but they are, at least I haven't seen it yet, they are not very charming compared to PALICOES or even Palamutes. So when it comes to your little companion, they are just so much better in Monster Hunter. Again, going to that charm, going to those abilities and stuff. The Tsukumo, I can't really it follows you, but I don't really know how it impacts the fight. I don't know if there's more abilities that unlock on it, but either way, come on, a robot is never going to be as charming as a freaking cat that walks on 2 legs. You can't compete with a Palico. Finally, the weapon, not finally, but the next one, the weapon and armor is a lot simpler in Wild Hearts compared to Monster Hunter. As you know, Monster Hunter, there's tons of menus to go through to understand all the skills, the decoration slots, the stats of your weapons and of your armor, what they can do and all that, even a little bit of lore on there. But in Wild Hearts, it's very simple. This is how much strength you get. This is how much elemental damage you get. This is a skill you get. That's it. It's very simple. Again, great for new players, but for those players who are veterans of Monster Hunter that are used to really digging deep and into these mechanics and customizing, this is a lot simpler and easier to digest. Maybe it gets more complicated later, but from what I've seen, I have to judge it as it is simpler. Another one, and this is kind of a problem for fighting, a big con in Wild Hearts is its camera. If you get close to a wall with a big monster, you're going to potentially cart or lose or die, whatever they call it in this game, because the camera doesn't seem to know how to handle big monsters. And so you're either dealing with a camera that you can't see the monster, you're either seeing the inside of a monster, which is empty. It's just really unpleasant to fight. Now, the game is still in early development, so some of this could get fixed by launch, but from what I've played, I have to share with you, the camera just sucks when you're getting into those close quarters. The same thing happens in Monster Hunter, but it's way more rare. In this case, because all the monsters are bigger, if you get too close to any kind of structure, you're just in for a really bad time. And so Monster Hunter has had way more years to polish off and improve its camera mechanics and just how to deal with it when you get close to walls. Another way Monster Hunter is better than Wild Hearts is the fact that it is way more hunting focused. So if all you care about is hunting, Monster Hunter is great for that, especially the more recent ones. You get your food, you get your food, you get your items, you go hunting, you come back, and then you do it again. You just want to hunt. That's what you get in Monster Hunter. In Wild Hearts, it's, oh, let's explore what's going on over here. Let's build this thing here. What's going on here? Oh, there's a monster. Let's kill it. It does offer, because it has more story, more exploration, you're not always going to be focused on hunting. You're not going back to your hub world, to your hub town and getting ready for the next hunt. You have to go out in the wild and constantly find your next hunt. So while you can keep hunting, it's not quite as arcadey as Monster Hunter if that's something you're looking for. So Monster Hunter does a much better job of, if you're looking for hunts, it delivers you hunts, and it's like, just set it up as arcade mode. And finally, this is a big F for Wild Hearts, but it just doesn't compare when it comes to endemic life. Monster Hunter's endemic life is better. Wild Hearts has nothing comparable to a toad, so it is so sad to not see any kind of toads or bugs or anything that I can throw at monsters in Wild Hearts. The toads will always have a special place in my heart in Monster Hunter. And even with the new releases of Monster Hunter games, they keep adding, things like beetles and all sorts of little spiders, puppet spiders, new monster or new endemic life that are just way more charming. And Wild Hearts doesn't have that. Doesn't even have an equivalent of that. Give me something cool that I can kick and regret shortly after. So that's where I am. If you want to see some pros of Wild Hearts in terms of how it compares to Monster Hunter, check out this video. If you want a full impression video of if you want my full impressions of my time with Wild Hearts, do check out that video as well. And I will see you on another Wild Hearts video or another journal or whatever I do here. And until next time, keep it classy.